your micro frame is like, oh, I wanted to have 1,000 people in the mastermind. But the macro frame is really like, well, I want to reach the masses and grow my business and spread my impact and success. That's the global one, which you can be more non-specific. So don't let the unknown at the micro level put doubt at your macro level. Welcome to the Do the Impossible podcast. I'm Jason Drees with Jason Drees Coaching. Join me Monday at 10 a.m. Central for 20 minutes. MondayMindsetReset.com. Let me set you up for success for the week. On today's coaching session, I had the opportunity to coach a friend and client, Diego Corzo. Diego is a highly successful entrepreneur whose businesses has expanded. He also runs a highly influential and successful real estate mastermind. And he's reached the point where he needed to focus himself more in his businesses and was saying yes to too many things and getting spread too thin. Watch in this coaching session how I helped Diego get clear on setting boundaries on where he's supposed to be focused and helped him get into alignment with where he needs to start saying no. Diego, great to see you today. How you doing, man?
Hello, Jason. Doing well. How about you? Good to see you.
I'm doing good. Yeah, good to connect here today. So, what can I help you with today? Would you like some coaching on today?
Yes. One of the things that I think I would need coaching on is going to be on how do I, like, in my life, there's a lot of things that I'm involved in, whether they're real estate companies, my realtor team, and everything, right? That with between my mastermind. But this year, one of the things that I wanted to align myself with is saying yes to things that make me happy to do or that I'm excited to do, and saying no to things that I'm not excited on, but in being able to choose and not feel guilty, I guess, if I say no to things rather than yes. Because the past, a lot of the things that has attribute to whatever you call like the success that I have, quote unquote, it has been by saying yes to a lot of different things. And but that has cost. I know that has cost at times, not being able to get as much as, like, being able to make as much impact as possible in one certain thing if I would have just focused on that. So I would say aligning myself with saying yes to things that I really want to do and saying no, or maybe delegating or doing whatever on things that I don't enjoy doing.
Like in the future or like right now?
I would say in the present, moving into, so like in 2023.
Okay. So I want to align myself with saying yes to things that make me happy and say no to things that don't make me happy.
Yes, because sometimes I feel like I have a guilt too of like just saying yes to things because of either previous relationships with like friends, business partners, whatever, or potential business partners, right? But it's not going to really, it may not align with my long-term vision.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Why do you do that? Why do you say yes when you don't want to?
Well, in the past, it's been that because I look at the potential opportunity. But then what happens later is more like the potential opportunity is there, but then I go like, I don't need the money. Like, I don't want to do things for the money. I want to do them because I really just want to do the work because I enjoy it. And sometimes it has worked, like that's what I'm good at, but sometimes I don't enjoy, or at least that's where I bring the most value for the partnership. That doesn't mean necessarily that I enjoy doing it, if that makes sense.
Okay. So that's what you did in the past.
Yes.
And right now you're telling me you don't want to do that in the future.
Exactly.
So you're basically saying, I'm going to do something I don't want to do in the future.
I want to do something. Yes. Like I need to start doing it now, I guess.
But right now, are you doing it in this moment?
In this moment, I need to start doing that. I need to like have those crucial conversations, if you want to call it that.
Like you didn't really want to be on this podcast, but you're helping me?
No. That is
I
no.
just
I
kidding.
wanted to do this. Like this was a great opportunity.
I was just kidding, Diego. But notice what you're saying, right? You're like saying, in the past, I did this, and I don't want to
Uh-huh.
do that anymore, right?
Exactly.
And you said, Jason, in the future, I do, in the past I did this, and in the future I don't want to do that anymore, right?
Mhm.
And
Yeah.
and I asked you right now, are you doing this? And you said no, right? So
Mhm.
so that means you're telling me that you're going to do that, and want me to help you not do that.
You want to I basically want, I guess, coaching in the aspect of this is good. This is good. At the end, it's more like the coaching on like it's not like it's I know what I need to do, I guess, which is having those conversations, right? And just saying no to those things. And I need to start doing that now. But
Yes.
more on the aligning myself with things that I want to do
Mhm.
and being okay that even though there might be a larger opportunity, whatever, like if I don't, if that's not something that is pulling me or that I'm aligning myself with, being okay with that. I guess maybe coaching
So,
in
okay, I understand what you're saying, but I also want to point out that right now you're not doing it, right?
I'm not doing it right now
Yeah,
because I
yeah.
want to.
You're not, but what you're asking me is you're saying that I'm going to start doing that, and I don't want you to do that. Okay, so let's
Exactly.
just notice that, because the reason why I want to be very specific with that is because I can only align you right now.
Okay.
I can't align you in the future. Now, I can help align you with a mindset that will give you the results you want in the future. But
Got it.
let's just, but because this is a very special, a very specific distinction here, is that you're not doing that now. You're not,
Got it.
but you're anticipating that situation coming up again where you would do that pattern.
Yes.
Okay. So let's just be clear that, like, okay, that's the old pattern, but I'm not going to do that anymore. And I feel out of alignment with running the new pattern.
Yes.
Does that make sense?
Exactly. Yeah.
Right? Because you're a nice guy and you don't want to say no to people, especially your friends and people who've been around you. But your business is growing and your success is growing, and the amount of time you have is finite. It's fixed.
Exactly.
So what we want to do is create alignment with you now so that you do things. Now, is it just happy to do, or is it what's good for me? Like, what's the indicator or not if you should do it?
I would say that I get to be that I'm playing in my zone of genius, I would say. In my like the indicator of that I'm doing the things that gives me the most joy and saying no to the things that don't give me that joy. Right. I
Okay.
remember that you and I were having a conversation a while back. Like if it feels heavy,
Mm-hmm.
right? There are certain things that feel heavy right now. And it's sort of like, yeah. Can you talk a little bit about that? Because that helped me last time, but I forgot. But like that sense of feeling heavy when you have to do things.
Well, I was going to ask you, say you want to do something that's playing in my zone of genius, and I'd love to play in my zone of genius, but unfortunately, the business still has jobs I need to do that doesn't feel the genius. I feel like a novice in certain parts of the business, but I still have to do them.
Yeah.
So now, light and heavy is one indicator, but like, how will you make this? Because it kind of sounds like in the past you would say yes to things, and then and those relationships have changed, or those business opportunities have changed, and they're different now. So I'm almost hearing like two things. I'm hearing like you want to do what's best for you in your business, and then you also want to do stuff that puts you in your zone of genius where you enjoy.
Yes.
And part of that may be saying no to people you said yes to in the past.
Exactly.
So there's a
Yes.
couple different things there, right? So it's like the first, and the thing that's probably making you feel the heaviest is saying no to people you've said yes to in the past.
Yes.
Right.
Exactly.
Right. And because you're an incredible human, you're a nice guy, and you have respect for people, and so it's hard to say no, and that's and hard to say no is also which makes you great, because you're great at connecting, because you're so open, and that's a great thing. So the next time you're in a situation where a business opportunity is repeating itself from the past, but isn't in alignment with you today, can you think of one or multiple situations where that may come up again, or with
It
specific people?
it can be, yeah, for sure.
Okay. So in that situation, what should you say this next time?
In that situation, I guess I definitely have to give a gracious no from that perspective.
Okay.
Yeah, and being okay. And I feel like they would respect me saying, no, I don't want to do this right now.
Okay.
Or I'm not the best partner for that right now, or I'm not the best person to be able to handle those tasks or that partnership.
Would you give a reason? Or would you just say no?
The reason would be that
No. Would you give Would you give a reason?
I would say yes, and that will be that I want to focus in my let's say, in this example, my mastermind group, let's say, the FI investors.
So, and the reason why I pointed that out is because I knew you'd give a reason why. But when you give a reason why, it almost puts you in a place of inferiority over the other person. When you explain yourself.
Inferior.
Yes. Like they're superior to you. You're inferior. Right? So it's like, oh, I would love to, but I can't because of this. Versus, no, I'm not available for that. And then if they ask why, then you explain, because the fact is your success is growing and expanding, and your audiences get bigger, and your focus has to be in a certain area. And so it's almost like you haven't caught up with your new identity yet. And I'm not going to say imposter syndrome, because it's not imposter syndrome is when your new identity holds you back. Yours isn't holding you back, but you may not be fully realizing how successful you really are and the impact you have. So it's almost, so if you say this like, yeah, no, I'm not available, that doesn't work for me. And if they ask you, then you can give them an answer. But if you say it from a place and they start giving it reasons why, that gives them like you're answering to them. You don't need to.
Okay. I like that.
Right?
Yeah. No, 100%.
And if they say, well, I need a speaker, and you could say, well, would you like a recommendation? I can refer some people to speak to you who could fill my spot, because you could always help. But it's like your bandwidth is the most valuable resource right now.
Yeah. Like one of the things that I'm taking away from this is that I don't have to explain myself unless they are asking for an explanation.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
But you're like me. You're a high IDIS profile. You like connecting with people. So it makes you amazing. It makes you great at reading them, right? You and I can read people. We can feel emotion, like we can do that. But it makes us very open to the emotional response of the people around us. So when we say no and they have a reaction we don't like, we typically don't like that. So we try to fix it versus letting them have their emotional experience, which has nothing to do with you, which is easier than it sounds. But but that's really the fact is, that's their experience. Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah. And I'm a high I on the DIS profile. So
I know. You're like me.
Yeah. So that makes sense.
And it's just business. So then it's just business, right? You can still go to lunch with them afterwards. Just business. But for high I's, business and personal are often the same thing.
Yeah. Yeah, because at the end of the day, doing that no, and whether because I don't have to explain myself, but I think, or like I know that by me saying no to things, I'll get closer to what like when I say yes to other things that I'm aligned to, I guess that continues to fulfill my vision, my mission in life, of what I truly want.
Excellent.
Yeah, this helps. Because now I feel more empowered too whenever I have to make those decisions.
So is your time important?
Yes.
Is your time more important than other people's?
Not necessarily, but I think my time is very important.
From your point of view, is your time more important than to you than other people?
To me, yes.
And is your time more to you? Is your time more important than other people's time?
Yes.
Okay. because everyone else gets to use their time how they want. But that doesn't, just because they use their time in a different manner doesn't mean you have to, because your effectiveness is going to really come down to how much you can get done in a short period of time, and how you can use your time. So that's why you want to protect that, because it's your number one asset.
Exactly. And being able to give the time to either the people that I want to hang out with, my family, whatever, or be in a working, creating opportunities, whatever that is, right? But at the end of the day, it's giving the time to what I'm aligned to do.
Okay. Excellent.
Yeah.
Excellent.
Sure. This was good.
So how do you feel about staying in your zone of genius?
In my zone of genius, I feel like that is the area that I need to play, let's say 90% of the time, of course, with the other 10% being more, I guess, the minutia or something like that, but being conscious that there's stuff that I can let other team members handle.
Yeah.
Right. And putting some systems in place so that they can only come to me or like where I'm mostly needed. And then everything else can be handled by other people.
Sounds good. Because when you say about playing with their zone of genius, what really came up in my mind wasn't as much saying no as it was surrounding myself with the right people so they could do the stuff that isn't my zone of genius.
Yeah.
So it's like building the resources around you.
Exactly. Yeah. And then one last question for you is, one of my goals is to continue to grow my mastermind group. And in aligning myself, I guess, continuing to play in the frequency where I am attracting the right people, but also having a growth of like what the vision looks like, right? For what I really want to build and the impact that I want to make, and giving it the maximum, like giving it as much energy as I possibly can. But again, that falls into like, if I want to do that, because I want that in the future to be my main thing, going back to the saying no to other things, it's going to be way more important. Now, on the vision part, like continuing, because I know you and I have had some conversations in the past on like growth and where I see myself. Like sometimes I have a limited belief that, hey, maybe I can just grow this to 100 or 150 people, by why not 1,000, right? And put the systems in place where people still feel a small community, but still being able to help the thousands of people and help them achieve financial independence. But yeah, can you talk a little bit about that? In, I guess, pushing through the larger vision that I have, but I still feel like, I mean, maybe it is imposter syndrome at the end of the day.
Imposter syndrome is actually a good thing. I usually don't like to say that word too much, but what was the question you were asking me again? You asked me to talk about something, but ask me a question.
Yes. The question would be, how do I get over the imposter syndrome, I guess, that I feel like I may not be able to create 1,000 people mastermind group, let's say, or like be able to have 1,000 people in my ecosystem that I'm able to teach and give value. Because I know I can get it to, like, I can help 200 people and create great impact, but to reach the masses and all of that stuff, building like getting over that, whether that is fear or, yeah.
Is that misalignment you're feeling preventing you from taking action right now?
From maybe being able to take on a few more things to grow it faster, I guess.
Okay. Do you want to take on more things right now and grow it faster?
With the mastermind, yes.
Okay.
Yes, because I feel like that's where I can create the most impact. And that is what excites me the most. Like being able to have to have those conversations. And when I hear people's wins, I'm like, oh, heck yes.
So you're comfortable at what, 200, you said?
I think so. Right now we're at like 50, 60. I
Okay.
know that we can be comfortable at 200. Like I can grow that, let's say, in the next 12 months.
Mhm.
But the big vision for me is to have like 1,000 people that are in an ecosystem that I'm constantly working with them and helping
Mhm.
them. Helping them achieve financial freedom.
Okay. So why is there just like, think about having 1,000 people in there.
Mm-hmm.
And how does that make you feel?
I mean, that will be amazing. That would be amazing.
So,
And
but didn't you just say you felt resistance to doing that?
so here was the thing that I was going to say. But sometimes I feel like people might say, oh, I don't want to be part of this group because it's so big. I don't feel connected. Like I want people to be able to feel like a connection, family feel and stuff like that, compared
Yeah.
to just being, oh, I'm just one member. I'm just, I pay a monthly thing and I watch the Zoom calls, but I'm not engaged, right? Like I want people to still feel like they're engaged. And I feel like sometimes I do have that limiting belief, I guess, of, hey, if it grows way too much, people are not going to feel engaged, and they might leave, or yeah.
So, okay. So you have thoughts and desires on what's going to happen when it's going to grow the group. And you have client feedback that says, "Oh, I like it small," right?
Mm-hmm.
So you're getting input to the process that's in the future that we're not at yet,
That's true.
right? And while you'd like to hold the vision to the future, you're also kind of going in the unknown because you haven't grown a mastermind above 200 people before.
Mm-hmm.
You've grown a mastermind to 200, right? So you
I,
understand that above that is unknown.
mm-hmm.
So we don't know what's next. So the best
Mm-hmm.
thing you can do is put yourself in a frame where I am going to maximize my mastermind and my client experience and all of that stuff. And you may want to let go a little bit on the number of people in the mastermind.
Okay.
Because sometimes when we hold specifics on there, it can create resistance.
Mm.
Right? Because if you're like 1,000 people and you're like, oh, that doesn't, there's a resistance there, because that could simply, and I don't think in this situation you have some fear of having 1,000 people in there. I'm just saying my intuition is telling me that life doesn't want you to focus on 1,000 people in there. Life wants you to focus on focusing less than that. So focus on 100, 200, but to the masses beyond that may come from a podcast or something else or a TV appearance. And the mastermind may always be at 200 forever.
Okay.
Right. So your micro frame is like, oh, I wanted to have 1,000 people in the mastermind. But the macro frame is really like, well, I want to reach the masses and grow my business and spread my impact and success. That's the global one, which you can be more non-specific, right? I don't know how, but I am going to increase my impact. I'm going to increase my community, and I'm going to increase my reach and success. That's going to happen. And then when we get into the details of, is it 1,000 or is it 300 or is it 500 with a smaller inner circle, we don't know yet. So don't let the unknown at the micro level put doubt at your macro level.
I like that. Don't let the micro level put doubt in the macro level.
Or don't let the doubt in the details cause
Mm-hmm.
doubt in the overall picture, because the overall frame is actually what reality responds to.
Yeah. That makes sense.
And then let life fill it in.
Yeah. Let life do its thing.
Let life do its thing.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you. This was great. This was great because I feel like I may have been a little too much into thinking of thinking of making sure that that the clients in the mastermind, that the mentees are happy, right? That they're feeling engaged too. And if we grow, I don't want to be like, oh, this is, yeah, but this really helps.
Excellent.
This really helps.
Excellent. So you good?
Yes, 100%.
Awesome, Diego. It was great to connect to you today. I'll talk to you soon, man.
Bye, Jason.
Yeah. Are you starting to see how powerful coaching is? Go to freeintrosession.com and my team will walk you through a Do the Impossible goal setting session to help you get aligned with the right target to make sure you're pointed in the right direction. Go to freeintrosession.com. Until next episode, I'm Jason Drees with Jason Drees Coaching. I will see you there. Take care.